Taking them off. I don't need them.
Okay.
All right, we're live, and welcome, Irving Fryer.
How you doing,
Feel,
Craig?
feel free to put
How
your hand down, bro. All right, there we go. Welcome to Insights from Philly. Let's get comfortable. So thanks for being the guest today. Feel free to come forward a little bit because it's a little dark back there. Yeah,
so I'm
that's
trying to hide.
better. Thanks.
Is that better?
Modern technology.
Yeah,
And it's nice. There's
I'm
not
not
many.
high tech. I'm low tech, just above no tech.
Yeah. Well, there's not many people, especially people my age, that are as low tech as me, and I know that you're one of them. So you're actually you're worse than I am. Yeah. Well, we go back a ways. I would say a little over 20 years. We have a lot to talk about. But
we're going to get all that in. We're going to get all that in.
I don't know. We might go over, but
how much time do we have?
I'll tell you what. You're the first doctor that I've ever had on, so I have to give you your due, Dr. Irving Fryer. That's
okay. I appreciate that. It's not MD. It's PhD. It's
right.
Not,
it's pretty impressive.
Well, I appreciate that. It was a lot of hard work, and that's one of the accomplishments that I've been able to achieve that no one can ever take away from me. So I'm very proud of that. Yes.
Well, I mean, when you're coming from Nebraska, and
there's no doctors in Nebraska.
first overall pick, and to some of the the ups and downs of your career, and to now have your doctorate, man. I mean, your mom must be proud. I know I am. So tell the viewers a little bit about you've had some some way high ups, first overall pick, some downs. Some incidents before a Super Bowl, some ups again, Pro Bowl, and nominated for the Walter Payton Man of the Year, and then you were recently in prison. You got a story to tell, man. Tell us about it. How did you overcome it all?
We don't have time to tell it all, but yeah. I guess I am I guess you could say the epitome of the athlete in the NFL. I've been at the top. And I've been at the bottom. All of that stuff, I guess, at the beginning of my career, early in my career, I guess you can chalk up to just being young and stupid, young and dumb. But now, the things that have happened recently in my life are, I guess it's sometimes the way life goes. And yes, I was recently incarcerated and, just trying to right now continue to try to bounce back. When I did get out of prison, and I don't know how much detail you want me to get into with that. I guess I can answer any questions you may have. Not sure how much people are interested in that story or not. But when I got out of prison, when I was released from prison on June 6th, 2016, I really came out to nothing. When I was indicted a couple of years before that, my wife of 28 years at the time filed for divorce. So while I was in prison, the divorce became final. And when I got out of prison, there was nothing left. Came not to home because I didn't have a home anymore, but no house, no car, no money, no clothes, no nothing. So at the age of 50, what am I, 57 now? So at the age of like 53, I had to start all over again. But like it said, the phrase has been coined, you have to keep hope alive. And hope is an expectation that things will get better. And somewhere deep down on the inside of me, that stays alive. I'm not a quitter. I'm not a punk. I'm not going to jump off a bridge. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. I am a perseverer. And I mean, that's kind of why I got my PhD, because people said I couldn't. I believe people thought, at least my opinion and my perception, people at that time thought that athletes were not intelligent people, that all they could do was play sports. So one of the reasons I obtained my PhD was because people said that athletes couldn't do things like that.
Well, I've worked with a lot of guys over the years, and one thing, I mean, you stand at the top of the list in many different ways as far as your charity work, in terms of when you're called on to deliver a speech, man, it's pretty powerful. Seeing you firsthand at the Pontiac Silverdome preach to 76.
I remember that.
Teenagers.
I had a cast on my foot too.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I had a cast on my
Yeah.
foot. I was training at the time. I was living during the off season. I was living in Texas at the time, and I was training, and I stepped on the rail in the middle of the track going around the curve, and I twisted my ankle. I turned my ankle really bad, but instead of I didn't quite break it, but they put me in a cast. That's when they still put people in casts, and I had a temporary cast on when I went to the Silver Dome. Yeah, I remember that.
Wow.
That was a pretty awesome night, but it was also a very nerve-wracking night. It was I was very nervous walking out in the middle of the
Because you
Silver
didn't have a
Dome.
matching shoe.
No, I didn't have a matching shoe. You know, that probably bothered me a whole
Yeah,
lot.
I know it definitely was. Come
But you know
forward a
what,
little
Greg?
bit, man.
You're mentioning, you're talking about things that I've done in terms of charity work, in terms of, inspirational talks, helping people. The thing that I'm dealing with now, and that is my biggest hurdle right now, is that my life now by people has been defined by this one incident that took place 4 or 5 years ago that led to my incarceration. So now when people say the name Irving Fryer, or when they bring me up, uh, they talk about that. And so now my life has been defined by this one negative incident, and I'm really having a difficult time overcoming that. I'm having a difficult time dealing with it. I did go to prison for something that I did not do. People don't want to hear that, but that's what makes it even harder to deal with. And then the aftermath of living with a felony on your back, um, and in the context in which it all happened, I can't get a loan from a bank. It's very difficult to live now. So again, I keep hope alive, hoping, praying that at some point, yes, the truth will come out. Yes, there was a trial and all of that, but it was a farce, man. It was crazy.
Well,
Anybody who had
let me just jump in right there, because having attended the trial for a couple of days, the day that I recall vividly, the stuff that they were talking about, I couldn't imagine. Like none of the things made sense, like the timeline. And I remember talking to your attorney when there was a break, because there should have been an objection, like object, like because
Well, my attorneys didn't do a good job at all.
no.
They were really good on paper and factual things and uncovering evidence, but when it came to actually operating and conducting a trial, both of them were absolutely fell off the wagon, and
Yeah.
it was too late in the game, to try to do anything about it. So I had to stick with it. But there was enough, there were so many gray areas and so much, uh, so many things that were obviously out of whack in terms of what the prosecutor and the state was trying to bring up against me, that it just seemed to me that it was obvious to everybody that
Well, they
I
had
was
the
not
bank
guilty of what they were
executive
charging.
there, and he was basically speaking like from a record that wasn't accurate, because they had stuff like on a big giant board blown up that you could see, and the dates were all wrong. So none of it made sense. And
Well,
what I know now,
the bank president said on the stand, and I don't want to really get into all this, but the bank president, and anybody who's ever bought a house will know that this is just crazy. The bank president said on the stand, because one of the pieces of evidence that they were bringing against me was that my mother supposedly worked for the church and made a certain amount of money to qualify for those loans. And the bank president said that he told all of his and tells all of his loan officers not to call any businesses to verify employment. That's crazy.
yeah.
Anybody who's ever bought a house or gotten a loan from a bank knows that they have to call. They have a responsibility to their investors to protect the money, and they have to call to verify employment. But so that was just one of the things. But again, it's tough. I'm doing it, but it's tough. Doors that used to open for me don't open anymore. And a lot of relationships, or most of my relationships, I should say, uh, that I thought were reciprocal, turned out to be not so. A lot of people that were in my life that I would have died for, I would have done anything for. Uh, they turned and walked away. So you're one of my few friends, Craig.
Well, man, you're a good man, and like I have no doubt that you were railroaded. And I mean, it's rare that it happens to a famous person, but it definitely happens more than it should, way more than it should, to people of your ethnicity. And it's a crying shame that that does happen. And it, man, we
Well,
could talk all day about
well,
racial injustice.
but wait a minute now. This you may be talking about that from the standpoint of the prosecutor and what he was trying to accomplish by making an example of me. But remember, the guy who got me involved in the whole thing was one of my friends. He was a fraternity brother, a guy that I knew for years that I trusted. So that's why he was able to get in so deep with me. It was a guy I've done business with for years,
Right.
and monies were exchanged between us. So that's how they used all of that. When he got caught doing what he was doing, whatever it was he was doing, they saw my name in some of his bank accounts, money going back and forth because we did business, and they came after me.
Yeah, it's a shame when a friend lies to get himself out of trouble, and then they don't even follow the facts, and then you know. But I have no doubt that at some point, the truth will come out, and your
And
name will be cleared. Let me just say this:
if God doesn't remove this thorn, just like Paul, God says my grace is sufficient, so He'll give me what I need to be able to deal with it.
well, the one positive, or one of the huge positives to come out of this, is a beautiful love story.
Ah.
And as I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of choking up a little bit because
don't cry.
Tell everybody. So while you're incarcerated, this lovely woman brings your family there. She drives how far and how many times, and what happened with that woman?
Well, I have to go back. Can I? You want me to tell? We have time?
I mean, time to tell the whole story?
Well, yeah, I have to tell. It doesn't make sense if I don't go back.
You could kind of just pick it up from,
okay.
This nice woman was helping you out with your finances.
I have to explain it.
You tell it, man. Tell it, preacher.
A week before.
I think we're frozen.
Are we frozen? No. It looks like it's moving to me. We're good?
Okay. Well,
are we good?
We're frozen.
Uh-oh.
Technology.
They don't want to hear the story.
Technology. Where are we?
The time is still going.
All right. Here's what I'm going to do.
Are we unfroze?
I'm going to end this, and we're going to pick it up, and you can tell the whole story. How's that?
Okay. All right. Do I need to get off?
I don't know if I can end it. Well, we're frozen. We're frozen here at Inside Philly.
See that? It's the same kind of stuff that was going on during the trial. Same kind of stuff that was going on during the trial.
All right, I'm gonna text you.
You can't hear me?
You back?
You hear me?
So I can hear you. You just kind of went, okay. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to end this, and we'll pick it up, and you can tell the story from the start, because I don't know how long that frozen period was, but we're coming up on the end. At least that way you can tell the whole story, and then we can wrap up. So
okay,
we're going to end this now, and then we'll restart in about 5 or 6 minutes, however long it takes me to reboot, and then send you that link. Okay.
Oh, so you're going to send me another link?
Yeah, because I don't think we'll be able to get back into this. So tune in for part 2 of Irving Fryer's love story momentarily.
Love story.
All right.